golden masks are worn. Lines are crossed and hearts are torn. Heroes move inside a game, racing fate outside the frame. Locked in rivalry, still they fight, chasing truth by day and night. Power Rangers, light the fuse, victory police, no time to lose. Super police, striking bold, truth in the shadows, secrets unfold. Power Rangers, locked in fate, separate sides, but the goal's the same. Victory police, super police, we will rise, protect the world. Power Rangers! Power Rangers! Let's go! Deep in the code of fire wakes. The world is shifting, nothing safe. Lines are breaking, rules undone. But primal hearts refuse to run. Power Rangers, primal drive, base awaken, we survive. Light and shadow side by side, fight to win with primal drive. Unlock the code, unleash the wild, strike the glitch, protect the file. The sky is cracked, the ground won't hold. The battle rages uncontrolled. But when we stand, the spark ignites. Together strong we burn so bright. Power Rangers, primal drive, hearts unbroken, stay alive. Code and courage intertwined, defend the world with Power Rangers, primal drive. Power Rangers, raise your sword! Five blades forged, awesome power reborn. From shattered thrones, the clash is sworn. Storms awaken, legends rise. With armored hearts we light the sky. Kingdom clash, Power Rangers, kings and queens, sworn defenders. Bug and blade, we rise, we run. Clash as one, till the fight is won. Slash through the clash, echo the name. Rise like the sun, burn like flames. March of might, crown of light. Hear the roar, call our name. Kingdom clash, Power Rangers, kings and queens, sworn defenders. Bug and blade, we rise, we run. Clash as one, till the fight is won. The power rings are burning bright. Go! Go, Power Rangers! Chase the light! Ha! 50 rings across the galaxy call. Red Rangers answering them all. One wish can save or destroy a dream. Fight with courage. Trust your team. Stand together. Never break. Every step is a choice we make. Savage strike. Power Rangers. Ha! Side by side. We own the fight. Power Rangers. Savage strike. Go! Go! Savage strike!
Tear the shadows, unleash the beast.
Go! Go! Savage strike!
Our will's the key. Feel our mind.
Savage strike! Power Rangers! Ha! Side by side! We own the fight! Power Rangers! Savage strike! Power Rangers! Savage strike! Ha! Ha! Go! Go! Power Rangers! Let your heart shine! We are burning through the shadowed sky. Lightning in our hearts runs high. Every step is a battle cry. We won't fail this fight. Brother versus brother. One world fell, we won't let another. Go! Prism Blast! Power Rangers! Go! Prism Blast! Together we stand! We'll fight, we'll rise, never turn away! Our light will break the darkest day! One force, hearts will shine. One voice, crystal power refined. Go, Prism Blast, Power Rangers. Go, Prism Blast, together we stand. We'll fight, we'll rise, never turn away. Our light will break the darkest day. Power Rangers, Prism Let's go! Power Rangers, let's go! Blazing glory, this is our fate. Danger's coming, we can't be late. Feel the fury, feel the flame. Time to take that victory lane. Super Circuit, hey. Power Rangers, hey. We're in high gear. Hold tight, no fear. The finish line is near. Power Rangers, let's go. Super Circuit. in the rift. The sky is breaking. Keys ignite the storm we're facing. Steel and shadow, clash of fate. Time won't bend, we won't break. Legends call us fire inside. Bound together, we won't hide. Let's go! Storm Strikers! Power Rangers! Blaze across the endless sky! Let's go! Storm Strikers! Power Rangers! Burn the dark, the stars will rise! Let's go! Stand! Strike! Power ignite! Fight! Rise! Rangers unite! Let's go! Star Strikers! Power Rangers! Blaze across the endless sky! Let's go! Star Strikers! Power Rangers! Locked and loaded! Boom! From Defender City to the stars, feel the battle drums rage, but the day is ours. Evil attacks, but the Guardians engage. We got your back. Gang's all here, ready to fight with the power sphere's light. Starforge Guardians! Power Rangers, Danger Breakers, we're never done. Starforge Guardians! We rise as one, we rise as one. Impossible odds, but we flip the scene. Morphin sparks ignite like a cosmic machine. Legends reborn, hear the galaxy sing. Every strike we bring is the power of the team. No fear, no fall, no turning away. For the stars near and far, we're the dawn of a new day. Starforge Guardians! Power Rangers, Danger Breakers, we're never done. Starforge Guardians! We rise as one, we rise as one. Guardians forever. Power Rangers! Never surrender! Go! Power Rangers! Power Rangers! Keep on rolling! The engines of courage, justice ignites. Racing on the dream line, we can never lose this fight. Blitzers try to break us, shadows in the rails, but we ride together, our power never fails. Dreamline Defender, Power Rangers, never let the nightmare grow. On the tracks of destiny, fighting for reality. Dreamline Defender, yeah. Keep on rolling, keep on rolling. Full throttle on the attack. Hear that thunder, destiny, fighting for reality, dreamline defenders. Go, go, go! Dreamline defenders. Power Rangers, pull the trigger. Out of the shadows, a burning light, turning the gears, we're ready to fight. Yeah! Never alone and standing tall, power unites, we won't fall. Gear up, we're Gear Force, Power Rangers, pull the trigger, ignite the source. Yeah, we're Gear Force, Power Rangers. Systems online, pull the trigger. United we stand, heroes deliver. Gear up, we're Gear Force, Power Rangers. Pull the trigger, ignite the source. Yeah, we're Gear Force, Power Rangers. Stronger than ever before. Go, winner, number one, go, winner, number one, go, winner, number one, go, winner, number one. 夜が明けりゃまた仙沢で夢と誇り抱えてジャンプアップ国家への意志で道を開け線の壁も一動きでスマッシュ君はファイター誰のものでもない光を今手に入れろ手に入れろ Hey hey つかめナンバーワンリングの上で輝け Hey hey うなれナンバーワン誇り高き友よ Go winner go winner go 立ち上がれナンバーワン絶対ゼロワン
Yeah, you thought it was just going to be the YouTube videos, and then surprise, I got another one in the hole there. Got another one up my sleeve. Always got another intro. Intro guy. That's what I do. Anyway, those are the ones I created. By the way, none of those actually were Power Ranger seasons. I think Go Kaiger was the last one that they tried to bring over, and that was, of course, the ill-fated Super Mega Force. Now, on screen right here, we have a bit of housekeeping before we talk to the chat. I just want to let everybody know that Shout Factory's old Ultraman TV account over on Twitch has officially been changed, URL and all, over to a Common Writer Zets channel. So that means that's most likely where the simul stream will be happening. The official simul stream will be happening. To my knowledge, there will at least be subtitles in English for this channel. It could actually have an overdubbing. I'm not sure. This is the first of its kind. Hopefully, there will be more. We could talk about this a little bit later. Kamen Rider Zets is a whole lot of things. So I'm really excited to see what comes of it. Honestly, it's their first attempt to try to appeal outside of Japan with it, and their solution was to give their main guy a gun, and I like that. I think that's smart. So let's hop over to the chat though and say hi to everybody. Speaking of which, Hibiki Gamer says hi. We have Madamus Prime answering the poll that we opened the stream with here. And let's check out the results of that poll. We have 88% of you saying, yes, you remember. So I'm glad. I'm glad that people remember their very first Power Ranger season because it's important. It's going to matter going forward, especially in our conversation today, because for a lot of us, it's a bit of an Ouroboros these days. Because if you remember growing up with Mighty Morphin, congratulations, your children do, and if you are of a older age, your grandchildren do. You know, that's quite a spiral, right? When you really think this through, huh? That there's a good chance that people with, Mighty Morphin as their childhood, maybe a little later into their teens, they got picked it up. Their grandchildren could be watching the Ninja Kidz Mighty Morphin collaboration. It's crazy. Blows my mind. But Madamus Primal says Zeo Turbo in Space Lost Galaxy plus Mighty Morphin Thunder Megazords. I think that's what that is. TM. It's Thunder Megazords, right? Anyway, and Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, were his introductions. So all pretty much a good choice there. Mighty Morphin runs a little dry for me. It's just one of those things. They were trying everything they could at the time. The mythology's fantastic. And again, we'll get into that in a few minutes when we start talking about the Ninja Kid situation. And it's good. Don't get me wrong. So don't like brace for impact on that one. I'm not gonna rant and rave about the success of Ninja Kidz here. I'm just one of those people that's like, maybe we ought to move on. But we have the old that service dog rather saying, I'm old enough to remember watching Mighty Morphin's first run. Wow, that's impressive. Welcome. He says, sadly, that means I've watched the decline of my childhood show. Yeah, well, the repetitive decline. It's not even declined once. It's 3 times now that they've sunset this brand. And they're bringing it back again because they can't learn the lesson. Just can't learn it. And speaking of that lesson, that service dog says, I had hoped to share the show with my son when he was born, but it wasn't interesting enough for him. I can't remember which iteration was on when he was young. He's 23 now. That would probably be somewhere in the Disney era. So that would be like Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, SPD, Jungle, Fury, RPM, somewhere in that area. Again, Disney did a lot for that brand. So, if that's the era that he came into it, if it was Operation Overdrive, I understand. Like everybody agrees that one's pretty rough. I have no idea why. I don't know how you screw up global treasure hunting, but somehow in the era that we had National Treasure being very popular, by the way, the Nick Cage movies, for whatever reason, they just couldn't land group of young adults treasure hunt and fight monsters. Somehow that just didn't click. I don't know. I don't know how you missed that pitch, but Madamus Primal updates us on this one. It was through syndication that he came through to Mighty Morphin. Excuse me. It was through syndication and home video. As for myself as well, I did not. I was a wee Bobby, a little Bobby when Mighty Morphin was a thing. In 1993, I was 3 years old. I had no idea what anything anywhere was, and I don't even think the television we had in my house could pick up the channel that aired Power Rangers, could pick up Fox. So I think I was just trapped as Sesame Street and Gumby in my own imagination. It was in northern Maine, way up on the Canadian border. So, we had more chance of getting Canadian television channels than American television channels off the air. So I came into Power Rangers through VHS. My aunt thought that they looked very neato when she was at the this is back when they used to sell VHSs at the grocery store. And she had saw the Green with Evil trilogy. And so that's how I was introduced to this, was Tommy being the evil guy. And that's where most people were introduced to. So Sakuramita says, SPD is my first Power Rangers, but also the greatest of all time of the franchise. I can't really argue with that one. I know a lot of people have their favorites, and I'm just objectively, when you look at what they did with SPD, I can't, there's no other thing that went as far as it did. They took a police procedural and turned it into a children's television show. The very first episode deals with thieves who are stealing to survive and only have each other to rely on. They're also mutants, and they immediately give up their thieving ways in order to become police officers when given the chance. We find out later that the guy who's second in command, his father was killed by one of the monsters, and he gets supreme revenge on that guy, kicking his ass. Like this SPD, there's so many other things with SPD too. Like waterboarding was part of that. When you get into the deep lore of Power Rangers, like when you sit around and you try to figure out, like, hey, wait a minute, what's the minute by minute happening in front of me right now? When you tear away like that, toy commercial that it's supposed to serve, when you get into the guts and try to think it through, there's some pretty heavy story elements in Power Rangers. Like I'll talk about my theory about Andros and Zane. They're my favorites. They're the ones that I came into the series on. The very first season I watched the whole way through was in space. And that was those guys. That's the craziest story how they came to be, if you think it through, right? If you piece together the lore about Andros and Zane, oh man, it is crazy how those guys became Power Rangers. So yeah, well, again, on Mondays, we talk about anime here as well. I'm just in a mood today because I am running around seeing all this stuff that reminds me how badly Hasbro is handling the Power Rangers brand, what it could be, rather, as I showed you with those intros, what it could be. And so we have I am in pain saying, I mostly love SPD. Yeah, there's some bumpy parts. Just like with every children's television show, it's going to have its issues because it has to appeal to children. So it has to do, immature things every now and then in order to keep the wee bobbies interested. I think Fairly Odd Parents was the best ones to balance this what adults will laugh at and what will keep children engaged energy. But that doesn't translate well to a show about people wearing multicolored spandex and helmets beating the ass off of a guy in rubber suits, Anyway, this is what got me in a mood today. I have been thinking about this since I saw it this morning. I have been grinding my teeth over it, in fact. And let me tell you why, okay? And there's nothing wrong with what Bandai did here. They are absolute heroes for doing this. Let me make that abundantly clear on this one, okay? I love Bandai for doing this. And they have a whole Twitter account dedicated to just talking about their Sentai products, by the way, okay? Just Sentai, not Kamen Rider, not any other product associated with Tokusatsu. Just Sentai. And they are reveling in 50 years of this brand, okay? This is their creation. They have been collaborating with Toei on the suit and weapon and giant robot designs since the beginning because they're the ones who make the toys for it that serve the reason for the show existing, okay? So if you don't know, it is to sell toys. Let's not kid ourselves here. This is not like Francis Ford Coppola style theater, it's not cinema, okay? It's meant to sell action figures. It's meant to sell toy sets, and that's fine. That's great. Some of the best ideas in cinema have come out of just dumb toy ideas. Like, look at He-Man. How crazy of an idea that is, huh? That's absolutely acid trip nuts on its face, all right? Now, enter in what Bandai's doing here, okay? Speaking of the past meeting the future, take a look at this, okay? So you have a mother with her son, and he is playing with Gao Ranger toys. Now, if you don't know, Gao Ranger's Wild Force, okay? So this is roughly 2004, okay? Now, we are implied to understand that this character right here in the foreground wearing a striped shirt is that young boy grown up to be a father himself, okay? And he is playing with Gozuger toys. Now, this is the current Sentai in Japan that's celebrating the 50 years of Super Sentai. And it's doing very creatively. It's not a parade of suits and shaking hands. It's quite competitive and interesting. Takes a lot of inspiration from G Gundam, so much so that the voice actor who played Domon Kashu in the Japanese version, he was just in the most recent episode last week. Pretty cool. Anyway, So as you can see right here, he's got all these figurines and the transforming robots that combine together from the series. And of course, it's a picture from like the catalog of like what you can get your kids for Christmas after you pick up your KFC, your Christmas KFC. We'll talk about that someday too, the phenomenon of KFC in Japan. And so, as you can see right here, the father became a Sentai nut. Okay, in Japan, they call these people nuts in sort of a flattering manner, and that they're wackos about it, you know, and that means that they are feverishly interested. Now, otaku is sometimes portrayed as like an excessive amount of obsession, so I'm sure there are people who are Sentai otakus. I might qualify as one. I'm not sure. I don't live and breathe the stuff, but you wouldn't know it the last couple of weeks. And so we have right here on the bottom a young boy who is playing with Tegasword. Now, Tegasword is the titular hero giant robot, also sentient and communicates with the Gozujers. Very important kind of character. We can talk about Gozuger if you guys want to in a little bit here. I have no problem. I have been watching the episodes pretty frequently. I think I'm up to date with everything but this week's episode. It's fantastic. I really adore it. I really, really hate that Hasbro won't be bringing it over because I have so many ideas for it. I really do. But what makes me angry about this is you take a look at this. The child in the past is playing with the current Super Sentai team. The child of the present is playing with the current Sentai team. Okay. Now, what's been annoying about my crusade against Hasbro is that they are going full force into Mighty Morphin. Okay. This is all about resurrecting 1993. Not even the later ones that Madamus Primal was talking about. You got with the Thunder Zords, or later on with the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. You know, it's not even talking about that. This is flatly talking about the first 22 episodes that bring you to Tommy, beating the ass off of the original 5 with the Sword of Evil. Okay. And most kids just checked out at that point. No, I don't blame them, okay? Not a lot of like young kids really have the patience to sit through the world building that was going on in that show because again, Mighty Morphin was the first of its kind. Even Super Sentai hadn't tried to do what Mighty Morphin was doing. Now, again, I'm not trying to smear Super Sentai or try to make Power Rangers look better, but Power Rangers was trying to build a consecutive universe here where Sentai would tell you standalone stories. So the Zyuranger footage is not tied to any other Sentai. Those guys might have a crossover. I think they cross over with one of the teams, but they might have a crossover in their footage, but they don't go on to remain in the universe active doing things and talked about. If it's an anniversary series, they'll come up because it's an anniversary series and they want to sell those toys. However, here in the United States, what Power Rangers tried to do was tried to link all of this together so that as these new teams came out, they were explained as a succession of power. Either they were an ancient ability or a brand new one in the case of Zeo and Turbo. Now, the thing that cracked open was that eventually these things just don't hold together. The visuals coming from Sentai always end up like conflicting with creating a cohesive narrative in Power Rangers because Sentai tries to create a massively different team every time because the purpose is to capture the new child audience and allow the aging out audience to move on to things like Kamen Rider, Ultraman. Ultraman to a degree, it's not too much more mature, but it does deal with more dramatics, I guess. And so over here, we were just like, no, we got to do Mighty Morphin. We got to make sure that everybody remembers Tommy. I got nothing against JDF, okay, but he was often used to sell the brand, okay. Guy didn't do anything wrong. Don't get me wrong, okay. He was there to get paid. He loved the brand. He loved what he was doing. No problem with that. I have a problem with the corporation milking that man to death, and still today milking that man to death because they couldn't move on from 1993. That became such a huge global sensation that we ended up stagnating the entire brand around 5 teenagers with attitude in Angel Grove that report to a floating head in a tube. Okay, most people don't even care about Zordon. That's the really sad part. Most people don't even care about that. They just care about some particular scenes of the Green Ranger beating the ass off the rest of the team. Mostly Tommy and Jason fighting each other is what people remember about Mighty Morphin. Mostly, okay? And it's sad, but that was the peak of their like experience with the franchise. It didn't get any more exciting until they aged out and found new franchises like, Predator, Aliens, that kind of stuff that had much more mature and graphic violence to it that Power Rangers was never going to be able to match, and it shouldn't, okay? In Japan, they kept chugging along with new series, new series, new series, new series. So they have 50 teams plus to celebrate. Meanwhile, Power Rangers choked on itself after 2 attempts in the series itself, plus a couple of movies, to try and revive the franchise as a whole. Okay? Now, I said earlier, this brand has been sunset 3 times already. In Space was intended to be the end of the Power Rangers. Then RPM was intended to be the end of the Power Rangers. And then finally, Simon Bennett got to plunge the sword of destiny into the heart of the franchise and finally end this poor, dragged out, threadbare beast. Now, I don't hate Power Rangers, as you saw with those intros. I quite obviously care about this franchise. What I hate is that it got stuck in a rut and decided it makes enough money leaving it in the rut, so they left it there. This is so hopeful and so motivating to see, like, hey, you liked your dumb spandex guys in helmets when you were a kid. Your kid has his own set of dumb spandex guys in helmets that he loves too. Why don't you share with him the crazy experiences you had? Play pretend with your kid who still believes in the possibility of becoming a Power Ranger himself. Instead, we're like, do you guys remember 1993? Of course you don't. That was 20 years before you were born. Anyway, we're going to watch this now, and then you can go play. So that's what set me off here, okay? But I do want to back this up to the premise that is in the title here. We have behind-the-scenes footage from the Ninja Kidz collaboration with Hasbro and Netflix. I didn't know this third wheel was involved, okay? We just found out that Netflix was, or I just found out anyway. So here we go. Before we jump, I want to make sure I catch up, though. Sakura Mita says, who remembers people who say Sailor Moon was a Power Rangers ripoff despite Sailor Moon came first in 1991? They didn't even bother to research. A lot of the people just knew one thing first, and it's like you'll hear people say Japanese Power Rangers, okay? And that just sets off everybody, that's passionate about Super Sentai. And they're like, no, Sentai came first. That's where all the footage came from. But it's just colloquially, people understand Power Rangers to be the first of helmet spandex people in giant robots. So Wild Force was supposed to be the end of the... Oh, I didn't know that. See, I understood Wild Force to be the end of Saban's ownership of it, but Disney had purchased it to do Ninja Storm. And Ninja Storm was just such a complete different tone and attitude and visual from Saban's run that it was just... Why it was crazy. I still love Ninja Storm's entire aesthetic. Absolutely peak Disney Power Rangers right out of the gate. But I had no idea that Wild Force was supposed to close it down. I guess that Disney did get it for a song and a dance. But I've kept you guys waiting enough, so let's meet our Red Ranger and Pink Ranger to start with here, okay? So here we go. Now, I have come to understand, Spencer was able to uncover that these suits are 3D printed. So we've arrived in that level of technology, everybody, that you can 3D print your clothes. I didn't realize that. I thought the stuff would rip, but apparently it can handle acrobatics, and you're not going to rip in all the unfortunate places to rip. So here we have, this is for the Ninja Kidz collaboration, by the way, okay? So we have the Red Ranger here and the Pink Ranger. These are intended to be, not Jason and Kimberly, but they are playing those characters, okay? So who you're looking at right here are Ashton and Peyton Myler. They're brother and sister, and they are the Ninja Kidz, okay? Now, I didn't know this, but way back in the day, the Ninja Kidz made a Power Rangers, skit. They made a little skit here. And so they've reposted it here in order to raise awareness about their ongoing collaboration with Hasbro and Netflix. And so we're just going to play a few seconds of it rather, and we're going to hope we don't get struck. So here we go.
Enjoy this health bar battle from the first time we took on Goldar. because next month we're going to take them on again.
Okay, so we're just going to jump over here to this right now, and I want to show you these kids showing up.
What is that?
So
That's
here you go.
Bulldog, but I just call him Dog Man.
So there you go, okay? All right, now I want to let you know, all the kids you're seeing here, all right? I'm trying to find a lineup of them. There we go. Oops, come on. There it is. So all the kids you're seeing here are the kids that return later on to be these adult rangers in this promo here. So it's pretty interesting. I like this. I think if you're going to do anything with Mighty Morphin like this is pretty cute. These people are just YouTubers, and they had children, and they had apparently enough kids that their friends wanted to be involved in this too. And they made a YouTube channel called Ninja Kidz, and it's a educational and athletic challenges YouTube channel. So it's right in line with what the Power Rangers is supposed to be spreading around. Now, years ago, they put this together. I think it was back in 2018. And so they were little kids, and they're all pretending to be the teenage Power Rangers in this little story. And so trying to find them in their costumes because it's adorable. They're little kids, but they're doing all the action stuff. And as you can see, a lot of effort goes into this. These are just children, and they've been green screened into all of this, okay, as you can see with their body proportions. Now, this is not what they're working on right now. This is very old, okay? What I want to point out is that the Black Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, the Red Ranger, the Pink Ranger, and the Blue Ranger, and, Green and White Ranger are the same kids that they were back in the ye olde times, okay? So that brings me to the video in which they explain how all this came to be, okay? So they had originally just made this as like a YouTube fan thing that they did that Hasbro apparently let them have. I don't know. But anyway, here we go.
We got contacted and told that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is being remastered in 4K for Netflix this year, and they want us to continue making our Power Ranger series to help bring energy and awareness to that remastered release of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
So this, again, like this family's done this before, and now they have an official collaboration with Netflix, through them, of course, Hasbro as like sort of the third wheel in this. I thought it was the other way around. Apparently Hasbro's just like, yeah, whatever, just don't make us look bad.
I get to be the Red Ranger again, baby.
This is the little kid. This is that little kid right here. This little one right here, okay? And this is the same kid. Blows my mind. Apparently this kid played Bulk in their little kids show.
Am I still gonna be Bulk? Oh yeah.
I'm
Right. Great Bulk.
You do.
Let's go. Not only did they ask us to keep making it, but they've given us a budget to work with. So this is going to be the biggest production that we've ever done. And I need to put all of my heart and all of my energy into it. And that's actually one of the things that I'm focused on this year, that is taking my time and energy away from making regular weekly videos.
So as he just explained, what they're doing is that this, he's the father here, and he's putting all this together. So he's doing the majority of the editing, directing, scripting, I guess. So this is a huge undertaking for him. They've never done anything like this before on this kind of production level. It's all just kind of been like what they can figure out themselves, and, the neighborhood family coming together to help them. It really is like, if you wanted to do something with the Mighty Morphin brand that had heart, this is where it's at, okay? And we haven't even got to the good part yet.
On YouTube.
Yeah, there's only so much time and energy you have in a day, and to create the level of Power Rangers that we're working on is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, they're going to be awesome. And now Peyton and Ashton are the actual age to be Power Rangers.
Yeah.
We can't wear the clothes that we did in the last episode, though, because those.
Oh, we've been wanting to finish episode 10 this whole time, so I actually saved the outfits. So the outfits, they end in, it's a continuation, and I thought we'd use them again, but it's been a lot of years.
Yeah, so as she says, the kids have grown up, okay? And they have. So let's take a look at these behind the scenes footages, if you will, these BTS. So they are rehearsing in this one. I'm just going to shut off the audio because it's just people giving commands. So they're just rehearsing their choreography here on the set that they have. Well, it's not a set. They just shut down this local park to film. And so as you can see, you got Kimberly and Goldar, and they're not helmeted up at the moment as they practice. But if you ever wondered how it's done, folks, this is a nice way to see behind the scenes. Definitely got to mute that. And so Lord Zed's back again, and he's a little chunkier than before. But anyway, he's been hitting the gym. All right. As you can see, he has not missed leg day. And so the Rangers are in some type of museum, and they are battling it out with Lord Zed, who is, doing his best, I guess. He's doing his best. And so this has something to do with the mayor or president being a diabolical co-collaborator. We'll see all the villains here in a little bit when we get around to the scenes involving them. But that is what it is. And so these are the kids behind the scenes, and they get along pretty well. They have a synergy between each other. They've been doing this for a very long time, and they're happy to be back to do their Power Ranger thing again. And like I said earlier, this is a really, really smart thing to do if you're looking to try and do something wholesome with that Mighty Morphin brand, okay? Hasbro apparently is pretty hands-off with this whole thing, so I feel bad because they should be in the guts of this taking notes. This is really the way to do it, because this is not something that these kids are doing because they like Mighty Morphin. They are doing this because they have their own personal attachment to that aesthetic and story that they're writing on their own, by the way. This is not the story of Angel Grove, California. This is those names and those powers, but present in Utah going through the Ninja Kidz experience. And so again, very, very creative way of bending this around into their brand and somehow getting an official brand deal to carry it out. I can't tell you how impressed I am with this, okay? And I'm not a Mighty Morphin guy. So here's some behind the scenes pictures. Now this apparently, I'm going to guess, is some kind of like teleportation accelerator. When they teleport and they turn into beams of light, this is apparently the thing that catches that, the beam catcher. This is apparently the beam catcher. Again, I don't hate it. I think it's pretty ingenious to try and like scuff together a command center when you don't have $1 billion budget, but you do have some creative people and access to a children's entertainment and museum space. So here you go. Finster's back. The depth of this little collaboration here that they're doing, this web series they're doing, is nuts. All right. They could have just very easily got some iParty costume suits and jumped around and buy our stuff, and that could have done that, but they've really gotten into it. And as I said, like President Business has a obelisk of kryptonite here. I'm not really sure what the intended effect of that would be, but we'll have to wait and find out. It's the green crystal, so I assume it's related to the Green Ranger powers. And we'll get into why the White Ranger is a part of this too. So here's Rita, and I got to tell you, she's banging. Like I would definitely ask that chick out. I'd be beating on the door of her space dumpster, that's for sure. Whoever this gal is, she's a looker, and I am really glad that they definitely chose this lady to do the job of Rita. And I'm not sharing the picture, guys. I'm sorry. I went through all of this, and I'm not sharing the right screen. Anyway, back to the portal. I'm so sorry. I got wrapped up in this. So here's the portal, okay? Now, let's say that you're an amateur filmmaker and you don't have access to a multi-billion-dollar facility. However, you do have a children's museum that has some neat stuff in it. And so you repurpose that children's museum with some more neat stuff. Now, I assume, like I said, that this is like the teleporter catcher thing. So when they teleport, this is the little thing that like receives those beams of energy, It's just one of those things to try and like add a little bit of, I guess, modern interpretation to it. Again, not a bad idea. And so, like I said, Finster's back, as you can see. Neato Finster costume. And of course, President Business, as I said, is there. And he's got the green power crystal from Egypt. And like I said, Rita is banging. Like, I am really glad that this is the lady that is playing Rita Repulsa. As I said, I would happily be banging on her space dumpster door, because I am very happy that they found this lady to play Rita, and they did her upright. They didn't make her look hideous. one of the things about Power Rangers that I've always enjoyed that made it sort of unique against Super Sentai is that a lot of the time the villains were women. And they were pretty women at that. Remember Diva Talks? I mean, we remember Diva Talks, huh? Let me bring up Diva Talks and her villainous ways. We remember, let me see, here we go. This is a good one. Naturally, it's on Tumblr. But remember Diva Talks? Remember Diva Talks, right? Who could forget? I think a lot of us became men while watching Power Rangers Turbo movie. We realized something about girls while we were watching Power Rangers Turbo. And who could have ever guessed what we would have realized as young, very impressionable boys would, huh? You know, who would have ever guessed? Who would have ever guessed? You'll never get this in children's daytime television ever again. Never, 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 never gonna happen in children's daytime television again. And it was a miracle. It was an absolute miracle that it happened. But I go back and I watch the scenes with Diva Talks frequently. Not for that reason. The actress was having a great time with that character, and I wish that she could have stayed on longer than in space. Because she was just kind of like the hello, I used to work here villain, and I really appreciated that about her like whole shtick. Like, I used to matter until this purple-haired astronomer bitch showed up. It's so good. But again, that was more of them trying to interweave the Sentai footage in with other, the Power Rangers universe lore. So once again, here's Rita, and she is very fine. Very fine, okay? Very fine. Good choice, guys. Excellent choice. Do more of that, please. And of course, there's some behind-the-scenes footage of like, ooh, spooky business people. Spooky business people are spooky businessing. And as I promised, we do have not a side-by-side, but like a top and bottom, or whatever. We have this from the Legacy of Nerd. It's pretty cool of them to put this together for us, but here you go. Here's the villains and their past counterparts. You have Lord Zed and Finster and Goldar and Rita reassembled here. Babu did not make it, obviously, I think for body positive reasons, you know. Babu did not make it. But anyway, we had improvised Goldar here, Thick Zed. Finster, I think, really came out the best out of this whole thing. Like, we'll see more Finster in a little bit here, but I really think that Finster came out of this the best. I really think he got the best upgrade in all of this. But we have Amazing Genius saying, honestly, I would have kept adapting Super Sentai and just do Mighty Morphin again. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So you would continue doing Super Sentai for the children and then try to revitalize the Mighty Morphin brand with like a movie for adults, young adults, to appeal to people who grew up with it maybe? Or is that what I'm understanding? I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just trying to decipher what that was meant to be. Hibiki Gamer says, Cider, Power Rangers Megaforce had different Ranger forms like Super Sentai, like the Pirate Super Sentai, Gokai Red, Blue, Yellow, Pink, Silver, and Green. Well, yes, that was the footage they brought over. The big problem with Gokaiser is that they're pirates. And pirates are criminals. And that's kind of the point of them, yes, there are heroic pirates, of course, but the problem is that as far as like the moms of America are concerned, pirates are bad people. And so it was difficult to contextualize that with the Power Rangers brand demanding that the Rangers not be portrayed as criminals. Now, I fixed it with Star Strikers. I showed you guys that intro there a while ago. You can scroll back and find it. You just got to look for Star Strikers logo. But the Star Strikers story was meant to just answer that by saying they're rebels, and that's their rebel symbol. And it's not even the Jolly Roger. It's some implied mechanized version of it. So it's not really easily confused for the pirate symbol, but it's also pretty close to the pirate symbol, your average Jolly Roger. And so that was my reasoning, is that they're rebels. That's it. That's why they fly that flag, because it's a flag of rebellion. I could talk more about this a little later, but I want to keep on with like this revitalization that's going on because I'm fascinated by it. There's been cosplay recently of improvised Rangers. As you can see, we have the pimping Green Ranger here. He's a pimp named Green Ranger. And again, it's a bizarre thing that just won't go away. You know, like people often like give up on their nostalgia and things like that after a while. You don't see as many He-Man cosplayers when He-Man's not in vogue, but like almost every year there's an army of Power Rangers that show up at the convention circuit, and they come in every shape, size, and background you could think of. But either way, I want to show you more of Rita's costume here from the Ninja Kidz collaboration. As you can see, her boobage is severely hampered by her top here, and I can understand why. But I don't know. I don't hate it. I also don't love it. I miss her Madonna bra. Like that was one of the iconic things about her, and a big pointy hair. But I understand that's not really in style these days, and for a children's show, it's a bit over the top to give her a very eye-catchy, pointy bra, to draw people's attention there. So I get it. But it also just disappoints me because that was such a unique look that it's really impossible to outdo. This comes close, but it's still missing something. And so I told you we'd see more of Finster. I really like Finster's head here. Like they did a really good job reinventing Finster's look to where he does look like a character that'll take orders still, but he also looks like he might bite your hand off if you get too close. As Finster was characterized in the show as, like he was, demure and obedient and soft-spoken, but he said some crazy fucking shit. Like, as I've said, as we've been talking about this, when you think through what was going on in those Power Rangers series, it is nuts what they got like into children's television. So we've got some more behind the scenes footage right here, pictures anyway. So, I don't know where this belongs in the footage because obviously it's not out yet, but this is another space inside of the Ninja Kidz collaboration. Again, I don't know why Hasbro's not directly involved with this. Like they should be living and breathing what these people are doing. This is apparently more of the command center, perhaps. It looks like it's supposed to be something like that. A laboratory of some kind. As you can see, there's a robot up on the upper end there, over here. Ta-da, it's turning something, so it's important. That's a thing that's happening, and they have some type of tube over here with some purple light that does tubey, purple lighty stuff. So I don't think that's where Zordon is going to be chillaxing. It doesn't look like his tube, but it's a tube, all right. It's tubular. Oh, yeah, we looked at that one. We got another one here of the Rangers assembled in the Megazord. It is very much like somebody's house, and I appreciate that they turned it into a Megazord space, and we'll see more pictures of this in a minute. But this is what I want to attract your attention to. Now, if you don't know, these people on screen right here are involved with I believe, the Mighty Morphin Unworthy, Power Rangers Unworthy series. And if you don't know, we'll talk about that on another day, because that one's a whole huge pantheon of what they've created over the years. And this has been an independent project, totally independent, managed to dodge being taken down despite how just absolutely well done it is for like a fan project of just people coming together with their own pocket change, putting this together. We'll talk about that. But these guys are the ones who fabricated the Ranger suits and helmets, 3D and whatnot. And of course, this is the Megazord space before it was finished. And as you can see right here, we have the White Ranger. Okay. Now, the White Ranger is not often seen in official revitalizations because, as I've said before, the White Ranger did not really make it into the lexicon of the younger the fans of Mighty Morphin that are around today to still spend money on it. It's the Green Ranger that they want to see because he was the bad guy and he did the cool bad guy stuff, and it never got cooler after that. When Tommy joined the team, they got bored. They were like, this is boring. This is a good guy now. I don't like this anymore. I liked it when he was mean and slicing up his friends and then lying to them in school. It's a very bizarre line of thinking. But anyway, the White Ranger's here, and they have an in-world explanation for why the Green Ranger is not present in this. And I am very, very impressed with the amount of research that they did to make this happen. Formerly, I said that this was like made by people who saw a Wikipedia page, but no, they created their own in-world story based off of what happened in the actual show. And so here we have it. This kid right here played the Green Ranger when they were teeny tiny little kids. You remember back over here. He was the Green Ranger in this tale, okay? Now, at the end of that story, this kid lost his powers to that Rita. Rita stole his powers. So, to my knowledge, she still has the Green Ranger powers in this new tale that they're telling. And so he now is going to be upgraded to the White Ranger. And the story they're telling right now is that the current batch that they have in their story, they do not know that he is returning as the White Ranger. This is Ethan Feinschreiber. Right here, this is young Ethan Feinschreiber, and he is going to be playing their White Ranger. He is originally their Green Ranger. And as the story goes, he's getting an upgrade to the White Ranger to rejoin the fight against Rita and the forces of evil. Well, now Lord Zed, because he's like eviler than Rita. That was another crazy thing that happened with Mighty Morphins. They were like, "You've seen evil, and I'll see eviler." But here's the team all together. And as you can see, the White Ranger did not get the diamond adaptations. You see that sometimes in the attempts to unify the Mighty Morphin suit designs. You see an attempt to bring the diamond over to the White Ranger. There were a few action figures that when you took the chest piece off of the White Ranger, he had black diamonds on his chest that, I don't know if that was smart, really. But it was an attempt to unify the brand, the visual branding of the characters. So as you can see right here, he keeps his Die Ranger, Kiba Ranger stylings by having the boot cuffs and the forearm gauntlets that are not diamond infused. His suit, like the others, is also 3D printed. So that's why you see all the textures on it. And for me, if there was a way to redo this, this is the way to do it. We'll get up a little closer on him here. I'll zoom in. We'll take a look a little closer at it. So as you can see here, lots of detail on this. You can see that the gold itself has sort of that Superman teeny tiny little symbolism packed into it. And they have like I said, the gauntlets are not the same as the Mighty Morphins right here. And as you can see, when they're posing for promotional photos, they have a slightly different lighting to them, and the gloves have some filling to them where they didn't before when we were seeing the action scenes. My guess is that it just becomes too rigid to jump around in these particular suits. So these suits are saved for photography. And the suits we see them jumping around in that don't have as much detail in the leg bits and arm bits are more flexible that allow them to jump around for the scenes. Again, like these are the guys from Power Rangers Unworthy. Like I said, if you guys want to hear about that, you'll have to let me know in the chat, in the comments below when you guys watch this later on. Let me know and we'll do like a whole isolated episode about that. Great guys. Really did an awesome job translating the lore. I don't really necessarily agree with all of it, but who would, it's somebody else's vision, as it should be. So again, as you can see right here, these are the cast from the first one when they were kids, and they've all returned to play grown-up versions in their second go-around with the forces of evil from the moon. And I don't know. I think it's going to work. I think this is not that's going to revitalize the brand, but I think Ninja Kidz is really going to get on the map for this one. And Hasbro would be very smart to step in and get involved with this immediately. Immediately. I'm not telling you to make a feature-length movie of this. I'm not telling you to go out and try to revitalize the entire brand with this. What I'm telling you is that you now have a social media friendly brand ambassador group that desperately needs like supporting media support. Okay. So it's really cool that these guys have their own web series. It would be even cooler if they had a manga. Now, wouldn't it? And manga is a lot cheaper to produce than a color American comic book, and it appeals to more youth. So they should immediately order a Ninja Kidz Power Rangers Reignition manga and get on that. Okay, and it tells their story, not the Mighty Morphin one rehashed for bullshit reasons. This is their story that they've crafted out already. Okay, now I also think we're going out on a nice long limb on this one. Okay, this should get a Telltale Games adaptation where you get to make decisions in the Ninja Kidz Mighty Morphin story. So rather than your Fortnite adventures where you're just downloading skins and styling all over your friends with them, you're actually engaging with a decision engine based story. So you make a decision and it plays out one way, plays out another, that sort of thing. So it has the opportunity to give people a more hands-on experience with the lore than just sitting there watching something happen in front of them. And again, this is just for the Ninja Kidz thing. I don't think it's wise to try and revitalize Mighty Morphin across the brand. The Ninja Kidz made this something entirely their own. And that made it work because you could see they're actually passionate about this. Look at the look on, maybe not yellow, but look at the look on all their faces. Like the boys, especially the Pink Ranger, she is absolutely into this. They are absolutely, maybe not the yellow, but they're all into this. They really are like, yeah, we have our own suits this time. We have like this crazy loopy thing behind us. We have our own villain. It's awesome. And again, like, where do you see this in the actors in Hollywood? You don't, because this is another job for them. And that's why I'm making this case here, is that we should step out and say, okay, you guys have a opportunity in front of you right now to create a brand ambassador team of young people with attitude, young people with attitude who can go out and sell your brand for the next 10 years. And you don't have to worry about spending millions of dollars on them because they do the production themselves. Like, I don't understand what Hasbro's missing about this. They're so desperate for Mighty Morphin. Hello, there it is. Make this a thing. Don't make this one-time web series thing to promote a 4K revitalization of the 1993 series. Give it its own life. I actually think this could work. This definitely has the energy to make it work. But I'm just that guy. I see potential in a lot of stuff, and it drives other people wild, I guess, that, who would dare, who would dare have an interest in revitalizing all of this, right? But I want to find those cockpit pictures. Hold on. Let's see here. Cockpit pictures. Oh, this is where they're touring. Here we go. This is where they're touring the recording space. So let's check this one out right here while I'm digging out the cockpits. So there you go. It would help if it had sound, right? Here we go.
Dreamwalk here in Orem, Utah at University Mall, filming the new Power Rangers for Ninja Kidz and for Hasbro. This place is amazing. You guys got to check it out. Look at this. Ashton, is this place sick? Is this place sick?
This place is radical.
I want to say hi.
Look at this place. This place is insane. We love Dreamwalk.
You can walk through this place for like 30 minutes and just see new stuff. It's amazing. It's so cool.
Check out Dreamwalk. This place is insane.
So there you go. Again, these kids are obviously passionate about it. They're having a great time. They're talking to each other and they're collaborating on how to make it look cooler. Now, there are bumps in the road. They don't have the budget to go creating, the fantastic Super Sentai sets because, as I've explained before, there's an entire logistics train that Japan has taken 50 years to build in order to support that. You can't just make that up overnight. So they did their best. As you can see here, it's some type of bank teller space that the Rangers are sitting at here, and they have control sticks from, I believe, an early flight simulator game, and it works. They lit it respectively for their colors. The White Ranger, they did their best, obviously. But as you can see, everybody's got their own little space, their own little, activity area, I guess, for their Megazord formation. Red Ranger, he's there having a time, I guess. I don't know. It just makes me laugh. Like, look at his pose. He's just like, anytime, guys. Anytime. Anytime you want to form the Megazord, I'm ready, guys. I'm ready. I am on Megazord duty here, okay? Now, they did provide us with some isolations of them sitting in this space by themselves while they were combining their robots. And again, like, it's this obviously the same space, but relit in order to make sure that it corresponds with the Ranger color that's in the cockpit. But I think it's good. I think it works. It's a low budget production for YouTube that they're doing their best with, and they've actually put some pretty good effort in. You know, I think so anyway. I like the little fan series. It's endearing to me over these big multi-million dollar productions that always goof it up because it's made by people who are just like, I could do it better. Meanwhile, these guys are like, they just want to add their own little thing to it. But we do have some putty footage if you're a putty guy. You remember the putties? So here they are at a playground where you typically would find putties. I love that it's at a playground and they're all teenagers. Like the last place that you'll find teenagers is where they're going to have this fight. But it's good. It's funny. We do have some isolations again from backstage, and so we want to say thanks to Ranger Espanol. I think that's what this is Ranger Espanol. I'm not sure what that means, but the original one, yeah, the original Mighty Morphin, yeah, way back in the days. Yep, way back in the days. Jennifer Walters here saying the original. Yep. Pink Ranger with the mini skirt. Yeah. We would want the pink one to have the skirt, right? Because that's how it worked in the old days. But anyway, we've got Lord Zed, and he has some nice spiky knee pads and tiny feet. His feet look so tiny. His little tiny feet. His little tiny Lord Zed feet. Anyway, you have Goldar here, and he's knocking over Trini. She's not having a great time, and Goldar's doing his thing. Finster, he's impatient, waiting on a sandwich is what it looks like. But here we have more of the helmets. There's a little bit of difference between them, apparently, not just necessarily the animal shape, but in how they fit the head of the wearer. The girls obviously needed more space in their helmets in order to accommodate their hair, whereas stunt doubles usually just sort of like keep their hair short, or they have it straightened so they can flatten it down into the neck of the ranger suit, into the high neck of it. And so that way, when they put the hood on over the top there to hold the neck in place, it doesn't create this big bump that the helmet can't fit inside of without squishing their face on the other side. So I understand why they did that. I understand why Yellow's helmet is a little bit bigger, I guess, than Red's helmet. So there it is again. I mean, they're posing there and they're, I guess, saying hi. Maybe this is the middle of action. I'm not sure. But, and looks like they have, this is apparently the introduction of the White Ranger. That's what it looks like. He's going to be showing up as a ninja-like mysterious character. And he'll be showing up and he's there posing with the very foxy Rita. Very foxy Rita. We approve of Rita. We like that. We like that. That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Good job, guys. 10 out of 10. But I'm trying to find more of the behind the scenes footage here that this one really captures it, the comparison between Ritas, though. If that's something you guys want to investigate. Like, this is what I'm talking about, is that like the aesthetic is there, that we get this is a moon witch, you know, she's space witch, evil, we got it. But I mean, it really kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't hit right. It doesn't hit the same. She just doesn't, it doesn't have the same kind of attitude, I guess, that the oh no, I've forgotten her name now. The witch character from Super Sentai. It starts with a B, and I just can't remember her name. But yeah, Badora, I think that's her name, Badora. The Badora aesthetic is just, it's hard to do Rita without that. And I know that they were doing this on a budget, so they had to work with what they could get a hold of, and they did their best, and it turned out pretty great for what they had to work with. But I just miss the sharp and pointy bra. I think you lose something when you lose the sharp and pointy bra. Oh well. Just I have a bunch of these saved because they put out a bunch of this stuff today for the comparisons. And I gotta say, like, you know, I know this is in like somebody's house or garage or something like that, but I gotta say, I mean, it doesn't look awful. It's not something that makes me want to barf my guts out. I think they did very well for being like a YouTube production left to their own devices by the mega corporation that was meant to be managing all of this. So I don't know. I think they're doing a good job. I guess I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I don't make independent film or anything like that. I just have an appreciation for it. It's pretty captivating. But trying to find some more behind the scenes footage of these people together. I think that's most of it. All of it. Probably all of it. Yeah. Sorry, just kind of sniffing around trying to go through my own bookmarks. Take a lot of notes on stuff to my own detriment, one way or another. But yeah, that's so we're back around. Okay. So that brings me to the next thing. Okay. So AI has taken another massive leap forward. Okay. We are now able to essentially put ourselves into any production that we like. So I'm just trying to find the image that I created here. There it is. So I don't own a Q Ranger Red costume. Okay. I'll let you think about that one for a second. So I don't own a Q Ranger costume. Okay. The AI, however, can translate a picture of me wearing my hat and a random picture from Wikipedia, okay, like a really low res Wikipedia picture, into this. There is no picture of Shishi Red drinking from a Gatorade. There is no picture that matches this out in either. This is wholly and entirely AI generated off of a Wikipedia picture and a selfie. Text prompt too. Okay. Then I added it to the background there, obviously. But this is the technology we have now. Now I, of course, pushed it beyond its recommended limitation. So I'm waiting to get a cease and desist order from Hasbro any day now. But I did go through and make a few of my own like characters and stuff. So just trying to find where I put all of it because I've been very busy with this technology. So you have to forgive me. I did not put it all together before throwing this together. So, okay. So just have a lot of stuff. Wow, I created a lot of stuff. Anyway, so here's this. Now, as I talked about in the beginning, I created the Star Strikers. And so Power Rangers Star Strikers was another attempt at Gokaiger, okay? It was another attempt at making that series more potent, I guess. Powerful, maybe? I'm not sure. But it definitely set off quite a few people having Marvelous transformed into a woman. That did not go over well at all with people. But here's a better one. So this right here, this image is totally AI generated. There's no Photoshop present whatsoever. Okay. Think about that. There is no picture of Gokai Red holding a glowing star map. Okay. None. You can feel free to Google all over the place. It doesn't exist. I generated that with that character in the foreground, in that pose, all of that off of a low resolution Wikipedia picture of Gokai Red and a pre-rendered picture of this woman. That's it. That's all that went into it. Okay. But it gets crazier. All right. So it gets even crazier. I like to make my own Power Rangers. I have a team that is somewhat published. They're in the first part of a important story. Let's put it that way. In my superhero universe. And I unfortunately am just very disorganized at the moment, trying to find where I put my blasted character design so I can explain how all of this works, this technology, okay? this new technology we have to make our own Super Sentai, our own tokusatsu, if you like. This is going to change American tokusatsu, by the way. Now, I know you're like, well, wow, it's AI. We're all going to be able to tell. Okay. Okay. Remember, you said you might be able to tell the AI. Okay. Well, watch out. So here we go. This is a design I had 6 years ago for one of my rescue soldiers. Now, this is Rescue Soldier. This is Rescue Soldiers Vehicle Team 5. Okay. And so this armor is all about rescuing. It doesn't have to do with fighting monsters, defeating other Power Rangers, none of that. It is all about rescuing people. There's no giant robot in this. They have vehicles that they rescue people in. They rescue from natural disasters, building collapses, earthquakes, this kind of stuff. It's a rapid response, massive disaster response group. That's it. Okay. So let's take a minute and hopefully I can find the picture. As I said, I did quite a bit of this. So I took this and I dragged it over to AI and I created a like an interesting scene of this character. So here it is. Ta-da! That interior does not exist anywhere. That particular pose with this character does not exist anywhere. This is not one-to-one translated from a piece of art. I gave it a character design and a text prompt, and it did the rest on its own. Okay? I really don't know how to stress that to you, that the AI did all of this on its own. I am not creating any of this through Photoshop. I'm adding the logo, obviously. But as you can see, there he is, marching away from a fire, carrying a child. Okay? So this has gone absolutely nuts in the past few days with this new upgrade, okay? So I created a theme song for these guys and everything, and a thumbnail. This is one of those vehicles I was mentioning that comes to the rescue. Okay. So as you can see, it looks real. It looks like just something you're just going to run across right out there. Okay. All right. So you're asking yourself like, okay, so that's just that red guy, obviously, and you can make him do different things. That's neat. So then what does that mean about anything else? What does that mean about what you're doing going forward? So the cool thing about this has been, I'm so disorganized today. I'm so sorry, guys. Gotta go back and get my pictures because I didn't have them pulled up. I'm sorry. I'm that guy. So here it is. Guess what? The AI can now take these character designs, like I showed you, okay? The character designs. This is what I gave it, okay? This is what I gave the AI. This is what it chucked out because I told it one guy's in silver, one guy's in green, and the center guy is in red. And it translated all of that into this right here. I gave it the direction that it's a city under peril and that it's, there's explosions in the background, everybody's leaping and there's light flares and stuff. I explained it all, but it translated that single design into this. Okay. All right. And you're thinking to yourself like, wow, that's amazing. That looks like a real deal Power Rangers advertisement that you'd see like in a magazine or, going around on the internet to let you know the new season of Power Rangers is coming out. Okay. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty nuts that just happened, that somebody just did that, And so I went a little bit further, right? Okay. So check this out. You can get, because I gave it both back and front, it gives me the behind look of these guys walking toward a disaster in their armor. And so the slogan to the VT5 story has always been, largely the Rescue Soldiers story has been, there's an awful lot of talk about taking lives. How about we save a few first? Because everybody wants to create the next like Power Rangers is going to blow the fuck up out of some monster, some alien ninja is going to show up and piss all over the moon or something. And I was like, why don't we just step away from that instead and create a story about, I don't know, just a group of heroes that agree to lay down their lives in service of, protecting the sanctity and importance of life. Call me crazy, call me crazy. But I do want to show you what I'm able to do now, okay? and I put it somewhere. I don't know. Again, I saved this stuff all over the place because I'm like, oh, it'd be a good idea to organize this stuff so I know what I'm doing. Nope. Nope. Not gonna help anything. So man, this is. You have to give me a second here, guys. I'm sorry. The live streaming is tough when you just like start up a stream and you don't put any like forethought into what you're going to talk about. You just start ranting about things that are on your mind. It's real smart. I don't recommend it though. But anyway, this is Horus, okay? This is another character. And I just want to show you like how versatile these systems are, okay? Because where did I put Horus's design? Because again, I'm going to walk you back on what Horus looks like in her original armor that I gave the AI. This is what I gave the AI, okay? This is what I gave the AI, and this is what it came up with on its end with the instruction that I gave it, okay? I can't stress to you like how revolutionary this is going to be for American tokusatsu, probably world tokusatsu as well, but in particular American tokusatsu, because there's not anything holding us back anymore, okay? Nothing, okay? Nothing. Let me show you. So I went out and I said, you know what? I want to push this. So I went out and I found a free video generator just to do a test because, you know, you don't want to waste a bunch of like Google VO credits on like a theory because that's just a waste of money. So I went out and I found a cheap one and I found a bunch of sound effects to go with it when I got a result that I liked. And now check this out. Ta-da! Ta-da! You just do this. You just do this now. This is a free generator. This isn't the Google VO. I added those sound effects in the background. That's all you have to do. And I have now created a scene where a character is very pensive while they're holding their rescue soldier helmet. Okay? This is one of the things about the rescue soldiers. They all have their names on the side of their helmets. It sets them apart from Power Rangers. But it's a branding thing. I wanted to make sure that Hasbro at least had to argue in court as to how it's brand confusion. But anyway, Horus is from a like multiverse team that goes around and takes care of an infection, like not like a flu, but like an infection that's warping rescue soldiers into monsters. Again, it's a bigger story or whatever. But I can just do this now. I just do this. I just whip this up, okay? Just whip this up. It blew my mind that this is how easy this is able to just do this, okay? I'm just gonna put this on loop in the background because it just looks so cool to me. I have waited years to see Horus in like this condition, okay? Like real live action Horus, okay? I waited years to see her like this. And it is amazing to finally like witness live action cyterized tokusatsu. And like, again, what I'm trying to stress to you is that you don't have to make a full like hour-long movie, feature-length movie with this stuff. You're not going to. It's still pretty like bumpy, all right? You're not going to get consistent lighting. You're not going to get consistent sound, that sort of stuff. It's still bumpy. It won't be for too much longer, but for right now, what you can do is you can create a sizzle reel or a very like extended trailer is what I'd say, like a 3-minute trailer, like an extended trailer to introduce your concept, okay? And then if you are so, lucky to like live near a production company or some type of studio or have a connection, you just show this to them and say like, hey, Power Rangers, let's give them a run for their money. They want to stick around with this MMPR look, which means we're wide open to take hold of that look and do whatever else we want with it because they're holding on to that MMPR look. They've abandoned everything else. Hasbro's made it clear that they don't want to translate anything from Japan again. They don't want to adapt any of it again. They're going to be making their own homegrown footage. So they're abandoning control of what Super Sentai established as an aesthetic. And they are instead retreating to control over the MMPR aesthetic. So I'm just telling you, you can make your own Super Sentai now. It's not hard. It's not hard. You just have to be patient with what you're doing and think through every shot you're asking the AI to make. It's going to take like some time because again, you're not dealing with like the normal image generator. You're dealing with a video generator that has to create successive images, and if it makes one mistake, well, that fucks up the whole generation. And buddy, I've seen some real bad things happen. I've had a whole video generation melt because it couldn't rectify a droplet running down the camera lens. It just melted the whole scene. Like literally, people were melting, cars were melting, buildings were melting. It couldn't translate what was happening. So there are dramatic limitations on this stuff. So if you choose your shots right, you can create a pretty dynamic sizzle reel to prove to a Hollywood executive or a television executive, somebody with money in the independent film circuit even, that AI can be used to enhance a tokusatsu production. One of the biggest problems with creating this tokusatsu stuff is all the stunts and the special effects work that goes into making the show so dynamic. Well, what if you could shortcut all the stuff that involved heavy CGI work and really crazy stunts, like people jumping off the top of a building? We see this a lot in the Super Sentai series where they leap down from a tall height and then land in that kneeling pose, and it looks real cool. Well, what if that looked like real as opposed to like a person superimposed on a green screen jumping down at the camera, you know? Well, that's what AI can do for us now. What if we had the transformation sequence totally handled by AI? So that way we don't have to worry about getting a person into a green screen space to run a camera around them in a circle. Instead, we take pictures of our actor in that green screen space and allow the AI to connect everything together, replace the background with all the necessary accoutrements to make it look like a real deal, Japanese style transformation sequence. This is where we're at. You don't need it to make every single second of footage because that's not going to work yet. It's still probably another year off from that. But then again, I said this was going to take another year. So it might be by Christmas, you'll be able to generate a whole movie. I don't know. But from what I can tell, it's going to be about a year before you're able to make anything longer than like 5 minutes, because again, like the generations are very difficult to get the lighting the same in. That's why a sizzle reel works, because you can cut between scenes and create this sort of kinetic effect that's not necessarily made up of one scene being cut up in order to look dynamic. And so again, what you're doing is you're playing to the strength of the AI to explain to the Hollywood executive, to explain to the indie producer or whatever, that this is the vision you'd like to enact with people and that AI can bridge the gap in the VFX area. Again, like I said, I can make my own tokusatsu right now. I can't make a whole series, but I could put together a half-an-hour program. It's going to take me about a month, maybe 2 weeks, but I can put together my own tokusatsu. I'm not going to be able to do that for very long, because as I said, you're not going to be able to keep the generations consistent for that long. It's not that it can't create consistent generations. It's that the video generators do not understand how to create that same lighting effect, that same attitude to design, that sort of thing. And again, you're dealing with an experimental technology, so it's best not to lean on that for anything that needs to be used a lot. So like your transformation sequences, there's usually only 3 of those that they use on repeat. They have one that's like the character standing and then they transform, and then they have another one where the character's leaping, and then they have another one where the character's punching forward and that sort of thing. And the rest of the time, it's just sort of repeating that over and over again. And they introduce them through like a flash or a jump cut between that transformation sequence back into the battle scene. So you have the ability to do this now. Okay. And scenes like this can help illustrate what you'd like the dramatic character scenes to look like, the overall aesthetic of it. Once again, we're able to deal with Unreal 5 now. So all you need is a green screen room. This is where someone stands in a room that has like no hard corners in it, and it's all painted green. And so when the editing happens, the space that they're in can be completely removed and replaced with a Unreal 5 space. Now, all you have to do that makes that very difficult, okay? The tricky part to using the Unreal 5 space to generate stuff like this is matching the lighting. You can see that there's a heavy light from behind her. So if you can match that in your green screen studio, while she is there, you can insert her into that Unreal 5 background that's part of the AI generation here. So you don't need to get her in a jungle in front of a waterfall in order to film this. This is how King Osier was done. So I'm just telling you, you can make your own Sentai now. It is absolutely within your grasp to be able to do that. now more than ever, you can point out like what you'd want to do with your creations. Even it's gone that far. Okay. Now, I like to push this stuff further than it really should be pushed most of the time. I like to give stuff its own kind of personality. And so I add in things to the text prompt, like the facial scar and stuff like that. And that's another thing you're going to have to generate a character design in order to create a consistent representation of that. Okay. The difficulty is that when you do that, you have to make sure that you're always lining up that particular facial structure or facial expression, right, with the scene that you want, because you screw that up and you're in trouble real quick, especially with the image generator. But I wanted to show you guys Mustang Sonata. Now, I've talked a lot about this guy on and off over the years. And so first, I'm going to introduce you to the character design. So Mustang Sonata is a rescue soldier, and he is themed after horses. Okay. So we're all on board. Okay. So this is what I gave the AI. And I said, I need this guy pointing a gun at the camera, and he looks really cool doing it. And the AI was like, I got you, fam. And gave me this. It's that easy. It's that easy now, okay? So this is the character I never thought I'd ever see in this type of existence, right? This live action representation. There he is again. Because you could just do this. You could just do this all day long. Whatever background you like, whatever. Now, for my creation, which is Rescue Soldier Mustang Sonata, Mustang's sidekick, companion, travel buddy is Duke. And Duke is a like man-sized robot Tyrannosaurus Rex with huge cannons on his back. Okay. Now, the purpose of Mustang Sonata is to battle, not the forces of evil, but his job is to go around and collect the souls that have run from death. And sometimes demons are trying to get at those too. And so things are pretty intense for them. And so Duke is like his horse. He rides around on Duke. Duke, of course, has his own personality. He's a bit of a pain in the ass, that kind of thing. And Mustang himself is a bit fed up with it. He's tired of having to always face the dead and, deal with being dead himself. His story is he doesn't know how he died. He remembers his life as a U.S. Marshal during the cowboy era, the 1800s, but he does not remember how he died. He comes into the employ of Arianeer, and Arianeer's story is that she is the goddess of transitional waters. That's basically purgatory. And I just never thought I'd ever see this come to life. It blows my mind that I'm able to just do this now. It's like, in transitional waters, and slow motion brings me back to like those early 2000s advertisements, and especially the lighting takes me back to the early 2000s. But as you can see, you could just do this stuff now. There's just your patience and your vision that are the limitation now. I would recommend not using AI generated designs for this. I would recommend hiring a real artist to draw your designs. So that way they are, consistent looking. The shapes are consistent, and that so the machine doesn't misinterpret like an AI button that looks like a face. And so your character has like a mutated baby face growing out of the middle of their shirt or something. So I would recommend hiring an artist for this stuff to do at least a front and back, if not a headshot as well, in order to make sure that the armor that you would like to see your character featured in is consistent. So I don't know. I think it's I think that it's going to really change things, honestly. I'm very, very hopeful, I guess. Like I said, in about a month, I'll probably have a proof of concept of what I was just talking about. I'm going to try and put together a like sizzle reel for the entire Rescue Soldier franchise. So this would be Mustang, VT5, Heat Shield, the Tri-Souls, Cider Max, and There's another one that I just have so many of them. That's the problem. I have so many of them that aren't in the design phase yet. They're just in the scripting phase. And so there's Heat Shield and yeah, there'll be another one anyway. But so there's Blue Riot. So I want to do a whole like sizzle reel of the franchise so that way I could just send that off to Hasbro and be like, hey, you are looking for a Power Rangers alternative. Here we go. I got your thing. You want to do Power Rangers? Here's the stuff that I created on my own. I'm the guy. I'm the guy to do this, not your Percy Jackson weirdos. I'm the guy that can fix this. Because the problem is the people who moved away from independent production, they're really iffy about supporting independent things. And that's okay. Like, they have every right to be because the indie market's been pretty abusive lately. So I absolutely understand why they're like, you know what, I don't want to risk it on an idea that may never come to fruition. Like, the Kickstarter's a graveyard of stories of people trying to start something and they never got it done. So when it comes to stuff like this, it's best to try and go through a corporation that can at least see through a pilot episode of your desired production. So that's just my opinion on this. I think yet we're really entering a time when like anybody can create their own Power Rangers. Anybody can create their own story now, you know? It's not that hard anymore. So I layer these. I use 3 different AI to do this. So I use Midjourney on some of the generations to smooth out the look of it. And then I use it's called Google Imagen Banana that will take in the drawing, the 2D art and translate it with your text prompt into the live action form. And so the other one that I use for this is there's a suite of image generating AI. It's very important to kind of, if you want to get into this, acquaint yourself with the strengths of the various image generators. For right now, Google VO is a really popular one that everyone wants to talk about, but Google VO is also very strange in how it handles camera depth. So if you don't have like $500 to throw at a minute-long piece of media, good luck. Because like you can't match the lens depth that most of Google VO's generations come out as. So the lighting's different, the lens depth is different, and you can tell immediately when you try to match it on another generator. Whereas like Min-Max does very well with remembering faces. But when it comes to doing dynamic motion like fight scenes, it sucks at that, okay? That's where Google VO2 has a stronger footing. VO2 doesn't have the lens depth problem that VO3 has, because VO3 wants to render 4K footage in 720p. And if you don't know, that doesn't do well. It looks really high def, but like everything's kind of flat at the same time. And that's why it's really hard to match Google VO3 output because, again, it's annoying, difficult, I guess. Sakura Mita asks, Cider, do you see the movie Home Sweet Home? Yeah. Sweet Home. Sorry. Sweet Home. No, I don't think I've seen Sweet Home. Is that like the one with the animals where they're like trying to get back home or something? I'm all right, Dark Rye. I'm just talking about how you can make your own tokusatsu now. Power Rangers is no longer the only show in town. If you're motivated enough, you can go out and create your own team. It's really not that hard anymore. You have to be patient with the image generators, and you have to be careful with how you're using vocals. As I've said before, the advantage with VO3 is that the audio is mixed into the video itself. You're not trying to match the noise that you're hearing from the scene with the footage, okay? Google takes care of that. As I said, though, VO has its problems, and that comes with the voice generation. As you know, with all of the Google VO voice videos where the characters are talking, they have a very flat tone, very empty delivery. Sometimes they're screaming or yelling, but it's sort of like a robot and an animatronics display trying to do it. And so again, the VO3 are very helpful if you want to make a quick little meme. They do not do very good when it comes to creating a longer, probably longer than 10-second presentation. Because even between clips, the voice changes, the angles change, the frame rate changes. VO3 is all over the place. So, like I said, understanding the different engines and their strength is very, very important in order to understand how to make this work for you. And I've just been at it. One of my other jobs involves AI video and image generation. So I've had a lot of experience in trying to get accurate um, designs translated into, an actual scene for AI and for a presentation rather. And it's been this is an absolute miracle. This stuff right here is an absolute miracle. Never in my life would I have expected to be able to make a tokusatsu without hiring actors and things like that to just run around and do all the crazy suit stuff. I firmly never expected that to be a thing, but here we are. Here we are. Crazy. Crazy. What a time to be alive, really. What a time to be alive. But then you can add another layer onto this and have make a theme song. Now, if you're wondering how I made all those Super Sentai, those Power Ranger theme songs in the opening, well, this is how I do it. I come over here to Suno and I make theme songs using their music generator. And so again, this is not anything difficult. You have to be patient with it, and of course, you have to have like some couch change because you burn through your generations pretty quickly. Because again, it's music, so that way it makes one mistake and the whole song gets ruined after that. Okay, it mispronounces something in a really cool line. Well, you got to lose it because there's no way to really repair that without the song being irreparably damaged because of it. So this is the theme song I'm working on for Mustang Sonata. Now, this is not finished, okay? And I'm just going to skip to the part that matters because it's just a bit of like build up that for me, it's annoying. May not be for you. I turned the volume down. You have to let me know if it's too loud for you. But here we go.
Rescue soldier.
Here's the lyrics.
Forward, never stopping, chasing the horizon. Lost ones running from the judgment call. Fear and anger, burning shadows try to blind them. He will ride to guide them home. No escape the reaper's fire. Through the storm he's drawing higher. Rescue soldier, Mustang Sonata. There's a rescue soldier, Mustang Sonata. Cowboy spirit, reaper in the game. Lost souls calling his name. Voices crying at the end of life. He will bring them to God's light. Stand and face the judgment call. Mustang, he rides for all.
So there you go. And as you can tell, Suno does a good job in characterizing what you want to hear out of a, Power Ranger, for lack of a better term, that's tasked with escorting souls that run away from death, from judgment to judgment. So it sounds kind of creepy, but it also has like that. It can pair well with like a showdown fight scene of a character, being squared off against a demon and having to use his gun to solve the problem. And that's what I mean is that like in order to if you're able to pair all this together, you're able to create something wholly and entirely original to you. Now the AI of course is pulling off of other people's work. Don't get that confused, okay? It's important to acknowledge this early on in your process so that way if anybody brings it up, you just go, "Yeah, that's what happened. You can be mad about it, but I didn't set out to steal anybody's work, okay? I just wanted to create something and this is what I had." All right? And again, we can get into the topic of who steals what, how to copy an art style, that sort of thing, how artists do this on their own, that sort of stuff. the whole attitude behind imitating an art style between actual physical artists that draw it out themselves and why it's a problem for artists, for art, quote unquote, art that is generated by AI. I don't think AI art is art. It's just an image generator. Humans create art. Okay. And so this is why I'm telling you to create something of your own and weave it together. So you have the image generator that makes you the image. Then you decide what happens in that image. I had the character Horace, where she was holding her helmet and looking very sad and pensively at that helmet. I'll bring that back up again so you guys can look at that. Here we go. And like I said, there she is, and she's looking very pensively at her helmet. She's sad, that sort of thing. And so this is what I'm trying to get is the more you add to it, the more it becomes yours and not the AI's full creation. Okay. I didn't let the Mustang Sonata theme song become like off the rails its own attitude. Okay. So as you can see right here, I'll zoom in so you guys can see the directions that I gave the song itself. It's at 160 BPM. It's a K-pop track. I can read this out because Suno in particular likes these style of directions. It annoys me because you have to decide when instruments come in and out, and it's annoying to keep track of. So we have it right here. 160 BPM, the K-pop track bursts to life with Spanish guitar powered by flamenco's rapid percussive guitars and vibrant palmas, merged with eerie synths and floaty pads. Smooth ambient female vocals, funk style 808s, that's a type of percussion, and snappy vintage drum machines drive the groove. Soaring electric guitar and synth melodies intertwine atop dynamic bass with recurrent hooks over lush 1980s cinematic textures. And so that's how we got this style of sound. So as you can see, all that's there in just that quick little sample. That whole sound is right there, okay? Everything I told it to do is encapsulated in there, save for the voices, and you already heard those. So that's what I'm getting at, is that when you're doing this, do the most that you can to make it yours. Don't just sit there and let the AI crap out something and be, amazed by that. Sit there and try to massage it into something that's actually of your own imagination. All the pictures I showed you, I did not leave the AI to figure out any of the backgrounds, any of that stuff. I told it exactly what I wanted in the background. I told it I wanted a waterfall. I told it I wanted an earthquake. I told it I wanted fires and explosions. I told it that I wanted the character floating in water, underwater. That whole thing is meant to, allow the AI to get out of its own generation and apply my own creativity to this. So that way I'm not relying on the AI to create for me. Because again, this is where the legal problem comes into place. Okay. So you cannot copyright an AI creation. Okay. Something that is totally of the AI's, manufacturing. If I went to try and copyright any of the footage that I showed you here that was generated by AI, it would not be legally possible. However, where I have added sound to that clip with Horace in it, when you add that in there, that changes what the legal complaint is about these things. As I said, I have played around. Whoops, sorry. I'll turn this way down. This is really loud. So I had this. I added some sound to this. Come on, bring up the sound.
What are we?
Here we go. I'm sorry.
Are we just alive to fight this war? What are we when it's done?
Now, this is not great, okay? As you heard with just the sound, it works much better without the voice over it. I found a voice in a hurry because I just wanted to show this off to my bosses that I work on this other thing with to demonstrate the tech to. I didn't go and find like an exact match for the character. So when you hear that voice, that is from 11 Labs. And 11 Labs allows you to choose from a wide variety of voices, give them vocal direction, text base, like a text prompt, and then tell them what to say on top of that. And so you can have them say whatever you want. This character in her story is supposed to be from ancient Germania, way back in the days of Charlemagne. And so I wanted her to have a German accent. And I found one just for the sake of showing this off to my bosses, as I said. But I would like to find one that sounds a little more warm, I guess. This one was just sort of there. And I'll play it again. It's not great, but I'll play it again.
Are we just alive to fight this war? What are we when it's done?
And that's just AI, okay? Now we can find a better voice. I added the sound effects in the background. But like I said, if you want to go through and try to make a trailer, it helps if you don't rely on making the AI create the audio in the video itself. Because that, again, is hard to match. Sounds hard to match. Rather, create the soundless ones and then do a voiceover style, like the characters having an internal monologue discussion, as I just showed you. All you got to do is apply a soft echo to that, and it sounds like they're inside of their own head because, Hollywood's established that for us. So rather than sitting around trying to figure out how to make the lips match and all this other jazz, nope, ain't got to worry about that anymore. Lip sync technology is iffy at best. It's not great. I would not say it's great. So, Sakuramita says, I learned Suno stuck everyone in 3.5, so I began to find alternatives because the language support isn't the best. Sure, in English, it works pretty okay most of the time. It gets confused with capital, like an all capital statement. Sometimes it doesn't know how to pronounce certain letters in there. But yeah, I have the pro version of Suno, so I have the because I use it for my work too. And so when I'm generating stuff, it's the latest 4.5 version. That's why it sounds so different. Darkrai says, not going to lie, every time I use AI, it never works for me. Well, and that's it's one of those things where, like, I come from a background of a lot of writing. I did a lot of writing when I was a teenager. I did a lot of writing as an adult, and of course, now I do a lot of it as a still adult. But anyway, it helps when you use the AI when you start addressing what you want the vision to look like. And so the AI isn't going to be able to interpret much from copyright terminology and things like that. You have to be very descriptive over what you want. Even when I'm generating these armors, like with what you're seeing right here with Horus, even when I'm generating these, what I try to do is explain the armor as best I can to the AI so that nothing is out of place. So it doesn't turn like one of those, like the armored boobs there into like a cloth bikini top, because that's how it reads it. I explain everything in the material that it is made out of. Like I explained that the armor is made out of fiberglass and plastic because that's how it would look in the show. Okay. Not that it shouldn't look like armor in like its own universe, but for the purposes of showcasing this to a production company, we want this to look like something they can actually make happen. And so that's why I told the AI that the armor that you're seeing is made out of plastic. It's made out of fiberglass. And that way it looks like a regular live action suit that you would run into in your daily, Super Sentai observation, Super Sentai fun. Like I said, it has a different reflective quality than metal, and it kind of lacks that sort of luster to it. But it also looks like it's accurate to the show, to an actual television production, what's within their budget to be able to pull off. Sakuramita says, is it me or do I like K-pop Demon Hunters more than Power Rangers? Probably. I mean, it's got a lot more entertaining qualities to it than Power Rangers has in like the last decade. So probably more than that even. So absolutely. They put a lot of effort into that as well to try and translate that to both men and women. So so RJ McReady says it looks nice. Well, I appreciate that. I am going to try and push this stuff to create a sizzle reel for the entire Rescue Soldier franchise and try to option that out because I believe in it. Power Rangers is in an incredibly weak position right now, and I think it's time that there should be an American competitor. We should not be relying on China and South Korea to challenge Super Sentai and Power Rangers. We should be doing it ourselves, and it's not that hard anymore. You just have to be able to sit down and say, I want this particular scene to look like this. I want this scene to look like that, and I want this scene to look like this. That's what you have to do. And if you can communicate that to the AI, it'll do it for you. Now more than ever, it'll do that. You can provide it with environmental references now, not just these character references. If you want to have somebody standing in the middle of the 1993 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Command Center that's a person from today, you can tell the AI to do that for you. You can tell it to apply the 1993 filter to it, the 90s television filter to it. So it looks like it's filmed in that time, has the right appropriate film grain to it. And then you can go through and animate that if you want and make it look like you're walking around the command center talking to Zordon. If you can find somebody that can mimic his voice, I don't think the AI can do it. I wouldn't try feeding Zordon's voice into an AI voice replicator because the voice was purposely vocoded in the original series, so it's going to come even more garbled when you try to feed it into an AI. Just try to find a voice impressionist on Twitter or Fiverr or something. They're out there. Like what you want. Well, yeah, that's when you work with this stuff, you have to be very descriptive about it. And so the AI requires you to be organized with that description as well. So a lot of the time when you're making a prompt, it helps to start out with like, you want a 4K live action promotional image photo, and then you describe the kind of shots. You want a Dutch angle shot, you want a close up, you want high angle, low angle, mid shot, that sort of stuff. And you start off the prompt with that. Then you explain the subject in as much detail as you can fit into the prompt limit. Then you tell the AI what environment that person is in. The last thing you should mention is how the lighting is behaving, okay? Because you've given it a lot of directions. There's a lot of light sources. There'll be reflective parts of the clothing. There'll be whatever's in the background that provides, light bouncing effects, because anything back there is going to reflect the light back, obviously. But when you tell it at the very end how you want the lighting, then it comes out to look really, really what you want. Like I told this, I said, television show lighting, okay? Not cinematic lighting, because we want this to look like a television show. And as you can see, when we, I'll mute that so you don't have to still have a loop on it. So as you can see, it corrects the lighting from the original image as the picture starts. This is the original image I fed it. Look at it right here, okay? This is very grayed out, but watch how it treats it. Ta-da! Now it's all blue. It added the blue filter that a lot of modern television adds, okay? Again, it's taking the direction that I gave it. As you can see, ta-da, it looks like it's like one of those CW shows. This doesn't look like a movie. This looks like a CW show. It looks like one of those we're on a budget shows. We don't have $400 million to make Superman look cool while he's sticking his tongue out, And that's the goal that you want to look for. To try and create something that looks like a real life Power Ranger, you're going to fail pitching that to a corporation. They don't have the ability to create a real life Power Ranger. So when you create these productions, these efforts to change, pitch your idea, make sure that you incorporate into this that what this studio can do. The MCU has gotten itself into a lot of trouble trying to green screen everything. And we remember how much George Lucas caught shit for trying to green screen everything, okay? Remember, all right? What you want to do is you want to pitch to them what they can do that they don't have to spend a lot of money on and they don't have to spend a lot of damn time on. So like I said earlier, if you can cut down on the stunts using the AI, you can cut down on the VFX, like the transformation sequences with the AI, guess what? The corporation's going to be a hell of a lot more interested in what you have to pitch because they can see that happening quick and fast and making them money, which is what they want. They don't give a damn about your characters. They don't give a damn about your world. They give a damn about the money it can make. And that's what I'm telling you is you can go out there right now and create this sizzle reel. And I keep hammering you guys with this because it's very important that everybody think this through right now. If you like Power Rangers, you can create your own right now. You don't have to obey what Super Sentai created or Power Rangers created. The Rescue Soldiers have nothing to do with the Power Rangers universe. Despite having that tokusatsu appearance, they have nothing to do with it. There's no morphing grid. There's no giant floating head in the tube. All of their transformation sequences are the same. They use rescue access cards, and those cards are scanned in. They turn into holograms. It's like Kamen Rider Wizard. the hologram of the card comes back and over them and changes them as it passes over them. And again, the AI is working on that. I have to cut that up into like quick cuts. You see these in movies when they're trying to do an action scene where people are fighting. So you see like a punch swinging, and then it'll snap cut to that punch connecting, and then it'll snap cut to the other guy who just got punched, punching the other guy back, and it'll snap cut like that. You can do that with a transformation sequence. If you remember in Super Sentai, what they're very popular doing with their character introductions is these snap cuts between like helmet, belt, boots, arm, that kind of thing, in order to be like when they're showing off the suit. That is a jump cut, okay? Snap cut, jump cut, whatever we're going to call it. That works for a transformation sequence. You don't need the AI to take a person who's standing on the street, move them in a new environment, then change their clothes. You don't need the AI to do that. You can generate various different images so long as the background stays mostly the same behind them, because the AI is just going to switch it around behind them. As you know, in the Power Rangers backgrounds, they tend to be pretty movie aroundy. And especially with the Dino Thunder one, outside of the volcano blowing, you had the like kind of cloudy red background that didn't necessarily catch the eye, okay? So if you didn't really care about making sure that that background wasn't like moving energy, you know, like beams of light that were crisscrossing each other, then you could do a transformation sequence, okay? Now, if you want to do what Sentai does with a person standing on the street and they just change into that character, that's going to take a bit more effort. I'm not quite sure how to explain that in a YouTube video yet, okay? I know how to do it. I just don't know how to explain it to you in less than an hour. This is a lot of steps to make it work, and it is a pain in the ass to make that work with AI. I have not successfully made it do a one-to-one transformation sequence yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there, okay? And that's what I'm telling you. Create your sizzle reels. This is the time. Power Rangers is in an immensely weak position. You can go out there and make your own, no problem today. Your own sizzle reel, your own trailer. If you've got an opinion about Mighty Morphin that you know, really want to make come to life, a fan fiction you had that you really want to bring to life, well, now's the time. Check it out. Rescue Soldiers Vehicle Team 5 does not exist anywhere outside of the one comic book I have published. All right, that's it. And not even the whole team exists in there. You only get to see two guys in the suits. One guy clearly, the other guy kind of opaque. That's it. And I went out and I created all this, and now it looks like you could just go watch this on Netflix or YouTube or wherever. It looks like a thumbnail for a television show. The AI can help you sift out your plots as well. ChatGPT and Grok, they're not that creative, but what they can do is they can help you fill in gaps. So if you're having trouble with character names, or one character is a bit hard to come up with a background for, you can have it help you with that. You can have it generate 100 different name options, and you can choose and mix and match from the list that it generates. These plot lines that I came up with for the various Power Ranger intros you saw I was showing at the beginning of the stream there, all of those were taking my concepts, detailed as they were, and translating them into a Netflix-style summary of the series itself. So this is a turning point, I think. I think Hasbro has really missed the bus on this one. I don't think they're prepared for a rapid flood of competitors in the transforming hero market. And that's what I'm calling it, transforming hero, henshin hero, if you recall from Japan. Because I can't really call it anything else. Helmet hero sounds stupid and kind of a euphemism for penis. So I don't want to popularize that one. Me and my helmet heroes. I don't want to popularize that one. But it doesn't hurt to go out and ask your AI of choice to come up with 100 name options for your franchise. If you have a basic idea of what your heroes are supposed to do, go for it. What I'm going to warn against is just be very careful on how close you get to what a Power Ranger looks like. As you've seen with all the characters I showed you, the rescue soldiers all wear bulky kind of armor. They wear armor all over. They're very let me see if I can find, there it is. As you can see, they wear armor. You could mistake them for a Power Ranger, but they are deliberately designed to look not Power Ranger-y. Because again, tokusatsu is derivative, right? As you can see, armor, on the body. Where did I put Mustang? As you can see, armor on the body doing its thing. And so it's all possible, guys. Think about it. Consider it. Go out there into the world and decide for yourselves if you want to start your own tokusatsu franchise in America. We need to. Power Rangers can't be the only show in town for people who put on spandex and helmets. That flatly isn't even in the spirit of the copyright laws that they retreat to. And they really haven't gone out and tried to stop anybody from doing this. It's just for whatever reason, here in the United States, people don't really like the idea of a dude wearing a helmet. Like, I can't understand what people have a problem with on this, because it's just putting a helmet on Batman. That's it. That's all you're doing, is you're just putting a helmet on Batman. So, I don't know. It's all very annoying, because it goes back to the same problem that we were at before with Power Rangers, is that, the audience, the consumer, the people who are, primarily engaged with consuming this media, they're just not engaged with it outside of Power Rangers, because it's all it's ever been over here in the United States. Is just, yeehaw, we're the Power Rangers. So, but you'll have to let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. I've been live for about 2 hours here ranting about what we have recently found out about the Ninja Kidz collaboration with Netflix in order to promote the new DVD series. So make sure that you tune in and check that out when it surfaces. I believe it's going to be on the Ninja Kidz YouTube channel. You could bet that this YouTube channel will let you know when it's up, though, because I do want to see what they came up with, and I hope it is as cool as I expect it to be. But as always, guys, you'll have to let me know what you think about this, and I wish you the best of luck out there, because the world's changing pretty quick. The world is changing pretty quick. Good luck.
Pepsi Man!